names. The guy who wrote Ragtime. Don't expect me to come up with a single name, because truly the last few weeks my brain cells have really kind of given out on not only names but English words. And what I really want to do is find somebody and really brush up on Italian. I love that language, and I think it would be very good exercise for my so-called brain.
Is Connor coming back at the same time Tasha is in August, or will he be here soon?
Yep. He's coming back. He finishes his program with AmeriCorps in August, and he has, I think, close to a month before he has to begin school. And the idea is that the three of them, Tasha, Enrico, and Connor, will all be here for the month of August. You never really know with those people, but that's Connor he's trying to persuade his cousins, Lyra, and to drive across the country and be here for Old Home Day. Well, whatever. I think those things are not very likely to happen, but anyway. And as of now, I think they'll be staying at the Village.
Right. Well,
which is totally fine for Tasha and Connor, whether Enrico, who is used to traveling, I guess, in very, very costly, fancy places. I mean, the descriptions of the places that they go, just when they go to ski or to hike. I mean, even Sarah and Roland are pretty overwhelmed. I think they went hiking with them at one point.
Yeah, exactly.
In the Dolomiti. Yeah. But I guess, I mean, it's done in such a way that at night you always come back to the luxurious whatever with all kinds of fancy spas and massages and all that kind of stuff. And I think even Sarah and Roland, whom I'm sure always stay in rather upscale places, have been pretty amazed at their thing. And I can tell from, I mean, when Tasha and I were in Egypt, it was really interesting to see how horrified she was at one particular place that we stayed, which, you know, as far as I was concerned, was perfectly acceptable. I mean, it was so much fancier. It wasn't a fancy place, but so much fancier than most places I've ever stayed. I mean, I really had never traveled like that at all. And here she was in the middle of the night trying to call up and say, you know, this is unacceptable. Where else can we go? I couldn't believe it. And I thought, we've had different standards in recent years. However, I think I'm luckier because I can be really quite content or acceptable with that. It's not that I don't enjoy squalor, but I can put up with a lot and have. But I mean, just the thought of even going to New York and staying in a hotel, aside from the fact that I could never even, it would make me feel sick to afford it, even if I could afford it. But the fact that I might come back with bed bugs is so appalling to me that I was talking to David Macy the other night, who said that he'd come back from either his last time in New York or in Washington, D.C., and he brought bed bugs.
Oh, boy, yeah.
And he'd stayed in a very well-recognized hotel, and he said it was just a nightmare.
Well, that's one thing that I've been very, very careful about is, you know, with the rubber mattresses, you know, and so, you know, obviously I'm washing every time somebody comes and goes, but, you know, it's like there's there's no way bugs can go into the rubber mattresses. So that's,
It must be a nightmare because I guess once you get, and
Yeah.
the eggs stay alive
Yeah.
for years
hmm
once you had them.
Yeah, the Boston Temple had them. That was crazy.
Really?
Yeah, it was really terrible. Yeah. They had to be free to get it out.
Oh, that's so sad. Because I think that, well, I guess, I mean, when I was growing up, there was that song about the score was 6-0, the Cooties were ahead, the bug struck a homer, and I fell out of bed. But that was a joke. You know, I never heard of anybody having bed bugs, or I think that they had all been long since done away with in most
Right.
sort of civilized places. No, that's really a nightmare. Oh dear.
So yes, and then what do you remember of Tasha and Sarah's being born?
I remember with Tasha, we were all going to church at All Saints, and I thought it was, I wonder if it was Easter Sunday, but it was sometime close to Easter, but I even remember the purse that I had. It was one that I had made when I was at the sanatorium because I was running the craft shop there. And I'd made this nice navy blue leather pouch. And sticking up out of the top of it was the book that I was reading, which I'd put in this pouch, thinking, I wonder if I might have to go to the hospital after church, and I didn't want to be caught without anything to read. And the thing was that it was Dostoevsky's The Idiot, and I just do remember marching down the aisle of the church with the title
Sticking out.
sticking out, thinking, oh dear, this may not be the most appropriate thing. And I've actually never made a big deal with Tasha about telling what I was reading when she was born. But I don't think I was reading it while I was in labor with her.
So did you go from the church to the hospital, or?
I think I did.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was something else. I mean, none of you, each one of your births were somehow, well, the time around the birth was somehow memorable, because I remember I would hear from the nursery this sort of high C shriek, well, not shriek, but scream. And it was always at least an octave higher than any of the other babies in the nursery, and it was always your sister. it was just unbelievable. This great high. Anyway, that was really quite memorable. It was, and everybody noticed, there's this child with this high soprano voice, letting everybody know she was on the planet. Anyway.
I vaguely remember when Sarah was born,
Yeah, do you really?
Yeah, I just remember it was a big deal, we had a new little baby sister.
Little baby sister. And actually, it was quite shortly after she was born that Dad, he had to have a checkup every year for TB, and they felt that there was some live bacteria in his sputum. I mean, the checkup involved, having to cough up stuff in your lungs. And so he had to go to the Veterans Hospital down in Massachusetts. And he was there for, I don't know how long, maybe about 3 months? Was it that long? That seems like a long time. It did seem like a long time. But that was pretty much right after she was